Hello, beautiful people. My name is Athol, talking about marriage, relationships, and getting what you want from them. And this episode follows on from yesterday's one where you had a story time about red flags I noticed in a dating relationship of mine. And this episode is going to be a little more onto the theory behind it, why they're so important, why you must pay attention to them, and what you do if you've missed them and you're already deep in a marriage to someone. And this is a super important concept to me because I keep coming across people who are in marriages that have lasted 10, 20, 30 years, and they keep facing the same endless barrage of problems and mean cards, like they're just caught up in this endless Groundhog Day of the same problem recurring and occurring. And often this is because they have married into a situation where they've inherited pre-existing problems before the relationship. They were shown a giant red flag moment or two and they missed them, and now they are married to this person. Yeah, and often those red flag moments, I mean, they look back and they just say, I knew when X happened, I was in for a world of trouble, and I noticed it and I ignored it. It's an issue where, say, their partner was physically violent or had an enormous meltdown, or got horribly drunk and started blurting out some god-awful statements that are just designed to wound them, or whatever. It's just some kind of thing where if you told another person this is what happened, the other person would always be horrified and tell you to get out of the relationship. That's what I mean by a real big red flag. If you tell someone else and they go, oh my God, what happened? Why are you married? Why did you advance it? That's happened time and time again. And it comes back to that whole thing of there's a very famous line by Maya, I gotta remember her name now, Maya Angelou, which is, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. So, you've been in a relationship with someone and you have been perceiving them as being this good person, this nice person to be in a relationship. And then suddenly it's like the veil is lifted and they're showing just how bad can get. The trouble is, when you stay in that relationship, you validate that bad behavior, you tolerate it, and then you reward them and promote them by getting married to them. So it's like if you have a bad boyfriend or a bad girlfriend and you see they are bad and they know that you've seen the bad, and then you marry them, well, they've been rewarded for being bad. They now have permission to be bad. They have permission to play the big old mean card anytime they want to, because when they did it in the past, you gave them a reward. You encouraged them. You taught them that this was okay. So, and when you're in that situation, you look back at this big missed red card and this relationship you've been in, and you've been treated horribly. There is always something about your situation at the time you saw this red flag and you ignored it and you advanced the relationship. There's always something about you then that was weak to them in some way. So it's not just that they are this horrible, mean person. There was something about you that attracted you to them in the first place, and then when they were horribly mean, there was something about you that decided that this was acceptable behavior, and you promoted them and rewarded them by advancing the relationship further. And when I say acceptable, I don't mean that you were happy with it or you liked it or you weren't horrified, but you accepted it. You accepted their bad behavior, so their bad behavior became acceptable. And then once you're married, you kind of get locked in a bit. It's harder for you to extract yourself. You have jobs, careers, houses, kids, and then you can easily get mired in a relationship that's harder and harder to extract yourself from. And once you are stuck, or at least made it a lot harder for you to get out, then they have greater leeway to play a whole bunch of mean cards on you. So that thing that was wrong about you at the time is usually some sort of childhood trauma or weakness, whatever. You're frightened of something. You're frightened of being lonely. You're scared of not being loved. You're worried about being homeless. You're worried about being childless. Or you're just so used to being hurt by those that have said they love you that you've started to equate being hurt with being loved. So when you're in a relationship with someone that hurts you and plays a big old mean card, that feels like love. It feels normal. It's acceptable. And you tolerate it, so you agree to advance the relationship. So obviously, 2020 wisdom, perfect hindsight. You could go back in time and change that decision, see the big red flag, not marry them, not advance yourself down that route. And that's obviously a great plan then. And certainly if you're watching these videos and you're generally younger and you're seeing your potential spouse just have this horrible red flag moment, then yeah, don't marry them, don't advance the relationship. You don't want to have to try and dig your way out of this at some point. It's really good advice. There is always someone better out there for you. There is always the ability to work on yourself so you can then attract that person. But if you're already in that situation, you're 20 years in going, oh my God, when I was 25, I should have never have married this person. And now I'm 45. What do I do? The first thing you need to do is you can really start working on yourself to try and address the issues that got you into this relationship in the first place. So if there's things about you that you haven't learned, you haven't been introspective, you haven't thought about self-help or self-growth or therapy or counseling or whatever it is to work on your own inner demons that locked you into this situation, now is the time. There is no better time than now. And that's good for two reasons. One being, unless you have that internal strength, unless you have that sense of self-worth, you are never really going to be able to hold frame with your spouse who has their own set of inner demons and is dysfunctional. You're never going to have the strength to truly stand up to them, to really have a chance at leveraging your relationship to the point where they start seeking out help. And if you're still weak, you're never going to be able to drive the relationship to some sort of ultimatum, because the same factors that locked you into the marriage in the first place are still existing. So when push comes to shove and you try and draw some line in the sand, stop being mean to me, you will probably fold again, because this is what your partner believes. So you always have to start working on yourself, do the self-growth thing, work on yourself, build your attractiveness, build your confidence. And that really is the only hope at you being able to change your relationship to hopefully gain your partner's attention, hopefully be able to set a way forward, a momentum forward to both of you becoming healthier. And even if your partner doesn't decide to do that when you've done your best effort, usually the only way out of the relationship to some sort of better, happier, healthy life is to be strong, determined, and self-caring, where you actually have the strength of will to be able to do that. Otherwise, you would tend to be drawn back into your partner's orbit. And every time you make a bid to leave and fold and go back, they feel more rewarded, more entitled, more confident, more secure in the ability that they can treat you badly and it is acceptable. So, sort of bleak stuff, but the truth is there is always enough time to work towards being a better person, a healthier person, getting yourself to a better place, a healthier life, and a life where you feel truly validated and loved and accepted and wanted. I'm just not saying it's an easy road. It may be an incredibly hard road, but it's still achievable. It is still something you can do. You can still regain your personal power and get yourself to a better place. So that's the video for the day. If you like the video, please do the whole like, share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe thing. And I will talk to you tomorrow.